all of these pieces are synergizing really effectively here. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to some more Division 2 content on the Jack of All Trades channel, and I got another build guide for you today. You just saw the gameplay, I hope, of me going through some Legendary Summit with this setup, and it can put in the work. But this is also applicable for Legendary missions. That's actually what I came up with it for, and you can use it in Heroic and other content, and it'll still be really strong. So let's get into the game here and see what we're working with. As usual, we have our little graph here going over all the different build characteristics. Like I said, this is Legendary certified, but not specific, so you can use this in other content. Maybe you can make some small changes. Actually, in the gameplay, I didn't even realize, but I had one of my cores that I would normally run blue as a red, but we'll get into that. The build type is a tank DPS hybrid, so we're trying to push as much damage as we can, and we're tanky along the way with a playstyle that is aggressive, but we do want to be tactical here. It's not as face tanky as my big shield tank builds like the Instigator. Those ones you can really go toe-to-toe with the enemy. You want to be a little tactical here and play smart and try to isolate a couple enemies at a time to be able to work through the enemy ranks and pick them off kind of one by one instead of just standing in front of the entire wave. But with the small shield that lets us use, an SMG and stuff. So we're comfortable and up close, Legendary, but we do need to be tactical. Farmability wise, it's a gear set again, so not hard to farm. We're keeping all of the cores native, so Heartbreaker comes with blue, and we're keeping them with blue unless you want to make some changes like I did in Summit and run a red core. We have a named piece that is a guaranteed god roll for you because you can craft it and it comes named with an attribute and the skill tier, which we're keeping. Memento you should already have, honestly. The primary might take some work to get because there are not too many options here. We're running a very specific weapon. So, let's get into the game and start looking at the pieces we're actually talking about. We're in game now. This is the build setup, right? You see we're running the 4-piece Heartbreaker, which is the perfect set for what we're looking for. It's giving us both damage and survivability through that bonus armor. Whereas something like Strikers would only give us the damage and we have to find the survivability elsewhere. I do have a build like that, but this one plays out differently and also very fun. We're kind of doing a techie tank where we're running the small shield, but it's still at tier 6, of course, and has quite a bit of health at 5.2 million, and that's only going to get healthier as we collect the trophies for the long-term buff on Memento, which is giving us that skill efficiency, of which skill health is one of them. That skill efficiency is also going to help the Artificer Hive. So, like a full tank that we would set up, we are using the Artificer Hive to refresh our shield. So that skill repair there is how much of the shield it's going to refresh every 10 seconds. So already at base, without any Memento efficiency stacks, every 10 seconds, 64% of our 5.2 mil health shield is going to come back. So that's what's giving us that sustain in a tanky package. It's not just like a one-time shield that's super healthy that's going to go down. We getting 10 seconds of 5.2 and then 64%, more than half of it comes back. And then at full stack, it's around like, I think high 70s maybe, I want to say, from the efficiency that we're getting with Memento, right? So that's what's keeping our shield tanky, and that's our primary layer of defense. But the Heartbreaker is giving us, with the chest, 100% weapon damage, so that's where some damage is coming from, and then 100% bonus armor at full stack. All of our pieces here, we're running blue core, which is what it comes with, and then crits. And then all my mods also are crits. This is bringing us to 61 chance and 81 damage here on this weapon. It should be higher. I'm actually using not my main character that I was playing with there. So this weapon here is not maxed out, so it's going to be even stronger. And also I have no expertise. But, getting into it here, right? So, Heartbreaker is giving us bonus armor, which is making us tanky, okay? We have our shield, which, with the Artificer, that's making us very tanky. That's what's actually allowing us to play really close in Legendary. You can't be tanky without a shield in Legendary. It's even pushing it with the small one, but this is the way to do it. And the bonus armor is allowing us to take hits from the side, so we can push even more and run around, put our shield away, run around, cover some ground, and then bring it back out. And you'll see I do that a lot in that summit gameplay. We're just charging right at them, and the amount of bonus armor we have is crazy. But that's actually not from Heartbreaker. What's really important that a lot of people don't understand about Heartbreaker is that the stacks you're getting, where it's saying that you get the 1% bonus armor and 1% weapon damage to pulse enemies per stack. When you're at full stack, which you want to maintain full stack because that's how you're getting your damage, okay? If you're at full stack and you've gotten all your 100% bonus armor, if you lose it from taking damage, which is obviously going to happen, you don't get it back. You only get it back when you gain a stack, and if you're never losing stacks because you're constantly getting shots out, which is what's, giving you those stacks, you're actually not going to have any bonus armor. It's kind of like a one-time use thing, and that's why I really don't like the backpack. I never recommend running Heartbreaker backpack. Even here, you'll see it play out if I didn't have the Memento, and that's kind of our secret, is what's giving us all of the bonus armor. When you engage for the first time and have no stack, you'll gain your Heartbreaker stacks up to 100, and then on kill, those trophies that are being dropped from Memento are going to give us, because of the number of blues we have, 50% bonus armor per trophy. And how it works is that stacks on top of the Heartbreaker bonus armor. I did some testing a while back now, but basically if you take damage to your bonus armor, it'll strip it off the bonus armor from Memento before it starts stripping off your Heartbreaker kind of base layer. And you don't want to be losing that Heartbreaker bonus armor because, like I said, it's basically one-time use because you want to keep your stacks up. You'll naturally lose stacks in between stages a little bit, but the whole point of it is to also keep our damage up. So our sustained bonus armor is actually coming from getting kills, which we're doing because we're a hybrid, and then we're picking up those trophies, and all of those blue cores we're running are going to give us even more bonus armor, and that's how we really unlock that barcode looking bonus armor, right? Now, our last piece, our little secret weapon here, there's not much to play around with, right? We're running 4-piece Heartbreaker. We're running it with the chest, for sure. We're running Memento, for sure. So we get one extra slot. What are you going to pick? It's got to be the Motherly Love. And this is why I say the build's going to get even stronger next season with TU22. So what does Motherly Love do? Okay. Brand is Alps giving us repair skills. Repair skills is what's good for the Artificer, that skill repair. That's how much is refreshing our shield. Now remember, that's our primary tankiness. Not the bonus armor, it's the shield. So the more we can invest in that, the better. Okay? So right away, that's a good piece. We're running repair skills as well as the attribute that we get to choose. The named piece comes with 10% skill health. Now that skill health is nice for other skills, but really it's about the shield. The way 10% skill health or skill health as an attribute calculates into the shield makes it quite tanky. Like if we run, do I have another piece here? So like this is just a skill tier, right? So we're losing that 10% skill health. 4.76 versus running Motherly Love brings it up to 5.2. That's a big difference from that one attribute slot. That's a big difference. And that's why this is so powerful. The other reason it's really cool too is because the brand works perfectly for us. And you actually get this from, the reason why I said it's easy to farm, when you unlock Technician, which of course we have to run because of the Artificer Hive, right here, boom. You have to do this to unlock Technician, and you get the blueprint for Motherly Love, right? So you get to craft it super easy. The other thing is it comes with a skill tier. The Alps brand is a skill brand roll skill tier. So it's a gimme god roll. You guaranteed skill tier, guaranteed 10% skill health because it's named, and then you just re-roll it with repair skills. Boom, done. Easy. This is a beautiful, beautiful piece. And sidetracking a little bit, but the changes that are going to come, I think, are very, very necessary, and it's going to make this even stronger. So you saw how much 10% skill health was impacting our shield, right? The proposed changes from the PTS Phase 1 TU22 patch notes are supposed to change this from 10% skill health to 25, which is super strong, and that's going to be awesome. I also think that it's not overpowered, and that it's very necessary. With the introduction of Empress International, the brand set, I forget what season that was, the one piece of Empress is 10% skill health. So it made this named piece pretty useless, because it's like, oh, what's so special about 10% skill health when you could just run a one-piece Empress? It's literally the same thing. It's not even like the brand bonus for Empress was like a different like tier, like for a 2-piece or 3-piece. It's literally the one piece. So yeah, I guess it's kind of cool, because if you want to stack them, like you could run the Motherly Love and one-piece Empress, but it just didn't make this thing that special anymore. And I feel the same way about introduction of Palisades to the Death Grips. The Death Grips honestly suck and are completely useless. I was hyped for them before because Armor on Kill was a much rarer attribute to get way back. But the 511 brand set sucks. It's completely useless. So you'd never want to have that dead stat brand on your build. And then it only gives you 10% armor on kill when you could just run one-piece Palisades now. Anyway, I think they should change that too. But the changes that they are set to do for Motherly Love are going to make this really strong and a standout piece, especially for tanks. So I'm really excited about that. And that's our little secret weapon. And we're keeping it as the skill tier because us running now 1, 2 plus Technician specialization, 3 skill tiers. Okay. This, the way it's multiplying this, the base from the skill tiers plus the repair skills we're running from the attribute and the brand, then it's going to scale even higher when we get the efficiency from the long-term buff on the Memento, is what's making the Artificer Hive so strong. A lot of people don't understand when you're building for a tank with the Artificer Hive, you need to spec into skill tier because of the way that it like multiplies and the way it scales with your skill repair. Just putting skill repair on your build is not going to be as strong as having the skill tier as well. And that's why we're choosing to not run another blue or another red, but to run the skill tier. Like I keep coming back to, the shield is actually what's making us tanky. The rest of it is survivability, right? But the shield is our primary layer to be tanky in Legendary. So it's worth more to invest into the skill tier rather than a blue. And then we're dealing enough damage, especially when we get that long-term buff, the extra 30% weapon damage from Memento. And that brings us to our weapon, okay? It's specific because we're running an SMG. SMGs are great damage dealers, and we're playing in SMG Rage, so that's definitely what we want to go for. Okay? The Vector 45, specifically the 45, why? Because it comes with the long underbarrel rail. And there's not a lot of options in this category of SMGs that have long underbarrel rails. You need this to be able to run the linked laser pointer. And that is what's going to give us the consistent pulse. That's over here. Linked laser pointer. This one is a must-have. You need to run this on the build. I would not run a Heartbreaker or any sort of like pulse-based build without running this attachment, because it auto-pulses everything. You aim at it, it gets pulsed, and so you know you're proccing the Heartbreaker stacks. And of course, we're going to double down with Flatline. which is going to give us another 50% amplified damage all the time, on top of all the damage we're getting, and we're easily pulsing them. So that's why this is so strong. I don't think I have one here. The other ones that are viable are the Ogpara. Again, you have to pay attention to which model. There's 3 different versions of the Og SMG, and 2 of them have the long underbarrel rail. This one is one of them. One of them doesn't, so pay attention to which one you're farming for. Alright, so this is another flatline SMG. You know, the Banshee is great, at least in this patch right now, but you'll see short underbarrel rail. A lot of these other SMGs as well. I think I have one in my stash. The other one to look out for, especially for next patch, is going to be the MP5. I got this one ready to go. It's just waiting to come out here. This is another one that you're going to want to run flatline because it has the long underbarrel rail. Our other vectors are also very good bursters, but they both have short underbarrels. So that's why we're using the Vector 45. So there's only, like we just went over, there's only like 3 SMGs that are really viable here, and that's why that's going to be the hardest thing for you to farm for, especially because you want to get one with Detox. You can change the talent, but if you want it specifically for this build, you can also wait for one to drop with Flatline. I think it's good to have one with Flatline as well, because you're probably going to use it with Flatline because it's so niche specific. There's only one of like 3 that have the long underbarrel. So that's where that weapon is coming in, right? There's not much changes I would do. I would seriously run it like this. It is super strong. The only thing I would consider is, depending on the content you're playing, you could swap out some blue cores for red cores. I would at most swap out 1 or 2. If you're going down to heroic, you can maybe afford to swap out 2, but you have to understand the trade-offs you're making here. This, you want to keep at tier 6. The whole point of this is to keep this at tier 6. So if you swap out more than 2 blues, then this will start dropping from tier 6. This counts blues and skill tiers. So we have 3 skill tiers. You're going to want to run at least 2 additional blues on top of the Memento one. So you have 2 that you can play with to swap to red for heroic. I would 100% keep them all blue for legendary missions. And then I had 1 red in the summon gameplay you saw, which clearly worked, although I might have even ran it with a blue. But, you know, there's moments where we had such ridiculous amounts of bonus armor, you probably didn't even need it. So that's up to you to play around with to see how you want. But the other thing to consider is that the blue also counts for how much bonus armor you're getting. Not just from your total bonus armor from Heartbreaker, but also each Memento trophy that gets dropped, that short-term bonus armor, scales with the number of blue cores. It's 10% per blue core. So us running 5 here, that's why we're getting 50%. Whereas before in the gameplay, we would have only been getting 40%. And that covers pretty much the whole build. Alright? We got the 4-piece Heartbreaker, which is going to get even stronger. We talked a lot about the Motherly Love, but there's also proposed changes for Heartbreaker to make it go up to 130% total damage instead of 100. So that's going to be sweet. We got the Motherly Love, which we love. We got the Memento, which is great. It's giving us all our cores. It's giving us so many buffs for the long term. One I didn't even mention was the actual armor regen. At full stack, we're getting 3% armor regen. So look at all the layers that we're covering here, right? We're getting consistent, easy damage from Flatline and Heartbreaker. We're getting upfront, heavy tankiness from our shield, getting buffed from Motherly Love, and then everything we've spec'd into the Artificer Hive is refreshing that shield for long-term fights. And then our Memento is giving us even more bonus armor, 50% every kill with the trophy, on top of the 100% base from Heartbreaker. So that's even more survivability for our body behind the shield. And then we're getting sustained survivability if they end up breaking through our bonus armor with 3% armor regen. And then we're getting even more damage from our crit and the long-term Memento buff as well, which will easily maintain. And all of these pieces are synergizing really, really effectively here. Get this build ready. It performs now. You can use it to farm legendary, heroic, whatever content you want to play right now. And then when TU22 comes out, I'll make an updated vid depending on what the final changes they incorporate. But it'll most likely be the same and be even stronger. Primary might change, but I still think from the preliminary numbers that the Victory 45 is going to be looking strong even post-patch. So, thank you guys for watching. I really hope you guys enjoy this build. It's going to be super strong right now and in the coming patch. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Enjoy.